let's start with this. Alright, I got some stuff to get off my chest. Hello, welcome back with yet another video. Welcome to my channel. If you are a returning viewer, I just want to say thank you for coming back and watching another video brought to you by Andrew. And if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. It's Andrew. So today I am a furious photographer. I am truly devastated. I am mad. I just want to murder. No, not that far. Not that far. Story time. We're gonna try to keep this story short for as long as it is gonna take me to finish this hot cocoa. And I've been drinking a little bit while I prepared. Let's be on the point. To the video. So since the beginning of when I started photography, and I've been posting all my photos on Instagram, you know I've been using Fuji and how much I love my Fuji camera. And you know that scene on Forrest Gump when he loses Bubba and Bubba dies in his arms? That's how I felt when I lost my Fujifilm camera.
If I'd have known this was going to be the last time me and Bubba was going to talk, I'd have thought of something better to say.
Speaking of Instagram, if you are not following me on Instagram, go ahead and do so right now. Pause this video, go on Instagram, go check out my Instagram right now. I don't care if you're scrolling all day on my Instagram. You can stalk me on there if you want. Go and follow me there and get back to this video. So recently, I broke my Fujifilm camera while out recording in Obico Falls out in Oregon. Got some rain damage, got some water damage from it. And I recently bought a Sony right here in my hands. This is the Sony A7 IV. Right now, I am shooting on a Sony A7 IV. So here's where this story gets interesting, right? Let me take a sip of my cocoa. Ooh. That was terrible. That was terrible. So this past week or so, I got this DM for getting a photo shoot. I was excited. This was going to be my first paid shoot for the year. So I was like, yes, I'm 100% down. Let's do this. Booked a date for a Saturday to shoot, and then I had all week to prepare. Did some location research, finding poses, all the shenanigans that go with just photography. So throughout the week, I was trying to work some video stuff with my camera and my camera monitor, which is what I'm using right now. But I wasn't getting any image to get into my camera, and I couldn't figure out why until today, which is important to this story. On Friday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to shoot. I should probably update the firmware on my camera. That's probably why I'm not getting any image that is outputting into my camera monitor or some reason like that. On Friday night, I update my camera's firmware through the SD card. I put the file in my SD card, put it in the camera. Through the instructions by Sony, it takes what, 5 to 10 minutes. I waited like 20 minutes, it didn't work, and I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and it still was not updated. My camera was like black screen, and this is the day that I have my shoot. So I'm going insane right now. I'm like losing my shit. I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out something to do because I have to get this shoot. Like, I need to shoot. I need to do this shoot. After trying and going online all morning, my shoot's at 2:30. I'm like, okay, my best bet right now is trying to go to a camera store to get it fixed. The closest camera store to me is closed on Sundays. I believe it's closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. When you rent on Fridays, you get 4 or 3 days free rental, which I did on a lens before. That's already out of the equation. And the next closest option to me is Glazers, which is all the way up in Seattle. So I'm like, okay, so I've got to drive to Glazers, and it's already like 10:30. I'm eating, rushing to eat, and I'm like, okay, I got to get to Glazers. So in my head, I'm gonna get to Glazers within the next hour. I'm gonna drive back, do the shoot, boom, boom, boom. And throughout this whole process, I don't think that I will get my camera fixed at Glazers. Within an hour, maybe Glazers could help me in this firmware update that I probably messed up, that I'm doing wrong. But this is really a far-fetched. The next option for me is when I get to Glazers is that I buy a new camera, or I do a camera rental, come back down to Tacoma, do the shoot in Tacoma, and then maybe whatever happens from there. All I know is I need to get to the shoot. So as I'm driving to Seattle, which is about an hour away from where I stay, from Lacey all the way up to Glazers, I reach an exit and I know there's a Best Buy at this exit. I'm like, either I take this exit, stop at Best Buy, see what I can get done at Best Buy, which is a lot closer than having to drive all the way up to Seattle. And I take this exit, I explain to the Geek Squad like my problems and what's going on, and they tried to help me. They tried to format my SD card, put the file on my SD card, and I've looked through all through YouTube on how to fix this, and they did the same thing, going through the Sony website and product website or whatever. I have to say, Sony, y'all suck when it comes to product support. I just want to say that. More on that later. So once I get to Best Buy, I'm like, look, this is what's gonna happen. If I can't get my camera to get fixed by the time I get to the shoot, I gotta buy another A7 IV. So now I have another A7 IV, which I bought. I went to go do the shoot, and on my way driving to the shoot, the whole time I am setting up. I am literally driving one hand, camera in the other, and I'm just setting my setting. I'm just setting up my camera, driving the whole time. Like my eyes is on the camera in the road the whole time, and it was dangerous. I wouldn't recommend anybody do that ever. That was kind of crazy. Chocolate. Anyways, I get to shoot. All my camera settings are set. I got some extra time to make sure I was downloading my camera. I got to look around the area. For my client, he was a good client. He got there on time. Got there a little bit early. Got to look around the area. So when I got home, I tried to fix the issue again, looking at more information that I might have missed. First thing I have to do is try to hit up Sony's product support, and that was more hard work than it needed to be. And I don't even know how long it takes for them to hit you back. I probably should have used like the call option. I used the chatbot method at first. Chatbot method, I freaking hate it. I told him my camera went dim, it went black, and it was talking about turning off my TV. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know if anybody else out there has experienced this. If you can leave a comment down below of how to fix this issue, because I'd rather fix it right now than having to send my camera over to anybody. Basically, I'm using Best Buy as a rental. You cannot rent cameras from Best Buy. If you buy equipment from Best Buy, you have a 2-week return period. You get charged a $300 restocking fee, which I realize is actually cheaper doing that than actually doing the rental option at certain stores. But you didn't hear that from me. So yes, I made money during the shoot, but then again, it defeats the purpose. Here's the important thing though. Having a client and showing up for a client and doing what you can as a photographer, a client is worth more than anything else. Like having to have canceled on a client, that would have been an opportunity for him to like go find some other photographer to shoot. Or I might not get that client again, but like me taking out that going that extra mile, taking that extra length is something that I felt like was worth doing. I don't know what's your thoughts on that, but chocolate. Now I know earlier that I was talking about my monitor and how it was important to the story. I probably would have never did this firmware update if it wasn't for my monitor. And then today I realized I plugged it into the wrong slot on my monitor. I plugged it into the HDMI out because I did it today, and I was like, why am I not getting footage out of my monitor? I'm like, it's not my camera, it's definitely my monitor. Looking at my monitor, troubleshooting. So it's kind of like my fault. But then again, Sony, what is up? Like, how is it so hard to do a firmware update? I've had my Fuji for so long, and I've done firmware updates on my Fuji, and I've never had an issue. But like my screen going black has never happened. Like I'm truly loving my Sony. Trust me, I truly love it. But I don't know. Anyways, thank you for sitting. Thank you for listening. Thank you for talking. Well, you didn't talk. I did. Bye. Thanks for watching. It's Andrew. Bye.